All right, everyone, welcome back. So we continue on our eliminated series with the Anaheim Ducks. So these are going to start really picking up over the next couple of days. I'm assuming that either tomorrow or Thursday or in the next few days, the team behind me is going to get eliminated there as well. So we should start seeing a lot more videos pop up in regards to that. But the Anaheim Ducks are the third team to be eliminated from the playoffs this season. They currently have a 23-42-3 record for 49 points, and they are 30th in the NHL. They have scored 171 goals. They have led in 248, and they have a 10-23-1 record at home and a 13-19-2 record on the road. So Anaheim, they have missed the playoffs now for 6 straight seasons. We're getting to the point where they should start coming out of this rebuild, and the bad should be behind them. This should be the last season of them being in the spot where they are right now, because I think they're building a really solid core that has definitely been developing over the last couple of years that I think is going to really make a dent in the NHL. Like, a lot of these players are going to be really solid in the league. But obviously this year a lot of things went wrong. Players had down years. Injuries occurred. A guy like Trevor Zegras has had injuries and a really bad season, so it just combined for a not so good year. But definitely Anaheim, I'm hoping to be bouncing back. But again, this shouldn't surprise anyone. There's still a lot of errors this team has. They lack some depth scoring. They lack a defense. And the goaltending wasn't all too great this year either from a few angles. But there is some promising spots there in each area. And I definitely think that, potentially another year of a high draft pick could really benefit this Anaheim Ducks roster. So your leading scorer is Frank Vatrano with 68 games played, 29 goals, 21 assists for 50 points. Vatrano was obviously an all-star this year and actually looked like a really good player. It was a guy who was on a bad team and definitely seemed to have kind of like not really a breakout year necessarily, but a better year than he's seen in regular standards for him. So I'm happy to see that from Vatrano. He could be a player that this team looks at in the future and wants to keep him around for sure. And that was probably why they didn't trade him at the deadline. There were rumors that he was going to get traded at the trade deadline. Obviously, that never happened because he's still on the Ducks. But that's probably the main reason why he was not traded. Your other scorers, Troy Terry, 62 games played, 19 goals, 29 assists, 48 points. It's been a little bit of a rough year for Terry, not the usual numbers we see from him in his standards. But I really do think that Terry will have a much better season next year, and a lot of these guys will, because I feel like this Ducks team, they may not be playoff team worthy, but I feel like they will be way better next season than they have been this year for sure. I think just the right tweaks on the blue line, some right tweaks offensively, and this team could be not a dangerous team, but they could be ready to go very soon. Mason McTavish, third in scoring, 56 games played, 17 goals, 23 assists for 40 points. McTavish also had a solid season too. He's missed a little bit of games, but still putting up a solid pace. I definitely think that when you surround him behind a better core, I do think that they are going to, he's going to be a lot better. So for sure, McTavish is part of that future with a few other guys in that roster. So I like to see those players having seasons they're having. Ryan Strome, fourth in scoring, 65 games played, 11 goals, 25 assists for 36 points. Ryan Strome brought in as a player to really help out the center core. Even though it didn't, I guess it kind of worked out, but I don't really know what the plan was with signing him. Well, obviously, I don't really know. But Strome has been a very suitable, second or third line center for this team. I think it's very fittable there to have him around there. And then finally, Cam Fowler, 67 games played, 4 goals, 27 assists for 31 points. You could argue Cam Fowler was their best defenseman in this season. Now, definitely there were a few other young players who looked good, other players who looked bad, like not Mason McTavish, like Trevor Zegras had a really rough season. We'll get into that more in our 2024 reviews. We'll talk more about a lot of the players, a lot of the other issues with this roster, look up a few more stats. That is going to happen when the playoffs begin. We'll start doing those then. But yeah, definitely Zegras, another guy to talk about there. I think Leo Carlsson, when he's played, has looked great. The only issue is just that he gets injured, and that could be a problem that we see further down in his career. I really hope not, because I like a guy like Leo Carlsson. He's been fun to watch this season when he has played. But definitely, there have been some injury issues there, too. Of course, too, Pavel Mintyukov as well has looked solid for this Ducks team. A solid defenseman. He's been in my rookie check-ins for the last couple of weeks now. A very notable player there. We'll be doing that video next week, by the way, if you're inquiring. And then finally, I want to talk about the trades. Jamie Drysdale obviously got traded for Carter Gauthier. Was a pretty good pickup there for Anaheim, getting a great forward from Boston College. I definitely think, though, we could see them aim for a defenseman in this year's draft. That's very possible, but obviously we'll see if that actually comes into fruition. Their goaltenders, one more trade. They obviously did trade Lyubushkin as well to the Maple Leafs, and Henrique and Carrick over to the Oilers. So forgot to mention that. Goaltending. You got John Gibson leading your way here with goalies. 13, 23, and 2, a 3.38 and a .892. Now, what I'm worried about with Gibson here a little bit is that them not trading him could really hurt this team later on. It kind of could. Because I feel like when this team is good, when this team's playing well, and that could be next season. That really very well could be next season. Gibson, I'm worried, could be like out of his prime. That's what I'm kind of worried about once this team finally starts to get developed. And then eventually you get there and you're like, oh, we don't have a goalie. That could be a problem. But that's all if you think that Lukas Dostal's ready. I think he is. But then again, I need to see this team good to really kind of determine, well, is he ready? But there have been some games this year where he's looked great. 10, 19, and 1, a 3.58 and a .899, so he's a better save percentage than Gibson. But obviously Anaheim this year has not been great, so definitely not surprising to see some of those stats the way they are. But yeah, that is your elimination video for the Anaheim Ducks. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Anaheim should not surprise you. They're where they are. They look better this season, but it's really not a whole lot better when you look at the overall stats. So definitely for me, I want to see some more improvement heading into next season because you're getting to the point where it's been almost 10 years. So you need to start making strides and showing that the rebuild is actually progressing instead of pretty much finishing at the bottom every single year for the past couple of seasons. So hopefully next year's better for this Ducks team. There will be plenty of videos in the offseason talking about Anaheim, so don't fret, Ducks fans. I will make content for you. But regardless, thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe down below. They appreciate it. We are trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of the playoffs, so every subscriber counts. I would greatly appreciate that. But regardless, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.